Hello, Stars and Boxing fans. Welcome to an on-the-road edition of Darth Tuba's Stars and Boxing Show. I am your host, Darth Tuba. It is summertime. It is the upper 80 degrees, and I decided, since it's a Wednesday, and I am never able to get to the Golden Nugget Flea Market on a Wednesday, I thought I would give it a shot. At the time of this recording, just coming off of the yard sale, everything was put away. I've separated some items from the yard sale items to place in my stock for future Whatnot shows, and I'm prepping at the time, although this video will go on after it. I have a mystery bounty hunt game scheduled for Friday the 3rd of July, and then I have a Black Series show scheduled for the 5th. And then I have a few more shows at the time of this recording you'll be able to see. I'm going to try to do I think I want to do a Tuesday night show, just a regular show, maybe a vintage show or a mix show, and then another show, maybe another bounty hunt on Friday, and another one on Sunday, and then another one on Tuesday. And I think that'll do it. So that's 1, 2, at the time of this recording, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more shows. So Golden Nugget Flea Market, I've done a few videos there. It's in Lambertville, New Jersey. It's right on the border of Pennsylvania. About a 20-minute drive or 15-20 minute drive from me. Generally speaking, I've been pretty happy with it. Even on slow days, there's always some it's more antique. It has an all year round interior section that I don't really like. I think that it's the same stuff there every week. A lot of times people aren't there, their stores are closed. So I see stuff that I look at and go, oh, that's really cool, I want to get that, but the store isn't open. And it's not like an antique mall where everything is tagged and you can just grab what you want and pay for it up front. It's, the vendor has to be present for you to make a purchase. So, but the Lambertville market, so I don't really like the outside, the inside part. The outside part, tables, and there's a pavilion covered area, and then some regular tables. It's open all year round, but obviously on the bad weather days you don't see as many people out there. But apparently I've been told Sunday is really, really good, really, really strong. So what I might end up doing is comparing this video. Sorry for the bump there, guys. I might compare this, see what it looks like right now on a Wednesday. It's about 11:30 in the morning. Check it out, see what it looks like, and then compare that to Sunday. I guess that'll be the 5th of July, and see if there is any noticeable difference. I'm sure I've been told there absolutely will be, so we'll see. All right, so let's see what the Golden Nugget Flea Market looks like on it'll be about 11:50 a.m. on a Wednesday afternoon in 92 degree weather. See how that goes. Okay, Wednesdays, dismal, at least today. There might have been more people here, but we'll do a quick walkthrough, but I'm not going to film it unless there's any Star Wars stuff. Man, there's something just sad about these like half a dozen vendors sitting out here, I remember I used to bring a truck here from my dad's store when he was still around. Back in the day, back in the 80s and 90s, and every one of these tables would be up, every single one. And I remember I used to do it on Wednesdays. So clearly, that is no longer the case.
How you doing, sir?
Good. How are you today?
Good. Still a little bit this guy showed up. Have a good old time. Maybe it is like check glass. This one's fake.
Well, with only maybe, as I said, a half a dozen booths open, we did find some Star Wars stuff. We got a Ronto, which I actually was happy to grab it because it included both of these little pieces on the side, which, you know, while I'm not a modern collector per se, I don't know if I still have my original Ronto, but if I don't, I want to keep one in the collection, but I do think I have mine. I do like the Ronto. It just, to me, it's this weird, it represents a weird gap or a weird transition from vintage to modern, in that it was in the special edition, and it's pretty much the only other place you've seen it. So it technically, in this day and age, is an original trilogy creature, like a Dewback or a Tauntaun, you know. And I know that some will be like, no, special edition, rah, 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 Lucas ruined it, rah, 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 rah. And I'm like, all right, that's enough. But I don't know, I just always liked the creature. I thought it was a cool creature. So, and then in addition to that, we had a one of those big figs, and I just sold my last big fig, but this is an original trilogy big fig. It's a Stormtrooper. So I'm gonna clean it up a little bit, hopefully. I don't know. I don't know if some, oh no, it looks like some of that stuff. It's mostly just needs a scrub down. So I don't know if I'm gonna put this in a sale. It's kind of big, in a whatnot show. So this might just be, both of these, well, Rondo would probably run at a show maybe, but both of these are basically going to be possibly fodder for next year's yard sale. And then the other guy, there was two guys there, and one guy was like, oh no, yeah, I got some Star Wars stuff. I got carded figures. He had two Mandalorian retro figures, which I always pick up the retro. I mean, and he had a really good price. It's a definitely price I can, even these slightly bent cards, I can resell. But are they the exact same ones? I think they are. Yeah, they're the pre-Beskar armor. So that is cool. So I'm you know, it was worth the trip. Okay, I was about to visit a comic and collectible store, but they're closed because comic and collectible people do not like to work apparently on Mondays or Tuesdays or Wednesdays, which is kind of sad because, you know, not everybody can get out on Thursday through Sunday, you know. So all right, so that's going to do it for this portion of the video. And if I conclude it here and he goes right to the credits, I meant I wasn't able to get out this weekend. But if it doesn't conclude, the next thing you're going to see is me on my way to doing a flea market run from, hopefully, if all goes well, Columbus Flea Market, Golden Nugget, right here again, and Englishtown, or one of those three, or two of those three, or all of those three, on Sunday. And then we'll see as a comparison to how it goes. Now, our worst weather is coming up today, tomorrow, the next day. Then it's supposed to start to cool off a little. So we'll see how that all goes. But hopefully there'll be some people here, because I don't have unlimited Sundays that I can go, and I want to make the most of the ones I can. So we'll see what we have. Insert more video. I completely forgot about another stop I've been trying to go to every time I go to Golden Nugget, because it's only about 5 minutes from it. It's across the border, so across the river in Pennsylvania. It's called Love Saves a Day. It's kind of a vintagey store, and New Hope in Newport, PA. New Hope's it's a really great, kind of quaint, touristy town. You know, it's got the Bucks County Playhouse. It's got a whole bunch of clubs and dining places, and interesting shops like this one right here. A lot of arts. Very supportive of the arts. It's got this really cool train station. And it's funny, you know, we've lived here for, well, pretty much have lived 20 minutes from here. Wow, rail bike. We could do the rail bike. That's an interesting thing to do. But we don't ever come here. And I think part of it is that, you know, to come on the weekends, it's very crowded. Looks like the art season. Closed for the summer, okay. So, still, really cool place if you ever want to come out to Pennsylvania. But if you're here on a weekend, just know that you're going to have to pay for parking, and good luck finding it, because it's really, really hard. But here it is on a Wednesday afternoon, and it's far more quiet. I mean, it's a lot of people here. And I remember right up there, that building used to have a really, really small mask store, like Ben Cooper masks and Don Post masks and stuff. And it's where I picked up all my original Star Wars, like Stormtrooper helmet, Vader helmet. I did that during my college years because college was only like 15 minutes from here. So that was cool. All right, but I think there's also Ditto Vintage, but I think that's mostly clothing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's just clothing. So let's go check out Love Saves the Day. It's right over here. I don't know if they're gonna want me to film. I'll ask them if I'm allowed to film. If they say no, they say no. But they have some cool stuff. I think I filmed there once before, a long time ago. So we'll check. It's a very eclectic. Taiwan on for $5. Clever. It's pretty insane. Oh my god, those crystals. Holy cow. Look at all those masks. Okay, well, we made a purchase or two. I'll tell you my thoughts when I get in the car. Very interesting place. I did a little bit of filming, but I had to be careful because the video, they were fine with videoing, but there was a lot there that you probably shouldn't be showing. Okay, so Love Saves the Day. I've kind of had a love-hate relationship with Love Saves the Day. I mean, they're really cool. They're very interesting. They're very niche and vintage, and there's little booths with everything in there. They do tend to get a little bit heavy-handed with their, with their theming, which is not a problem. I'm okay with that. But their pricing is a little bit high. You know, they had a few Star Wars items. Most of the things that they said were way overpriced. I mean, there were some loose figures in there. I didn't need them. They're mostly very common figures. They're not worth, a fraction of what they were asking. But maybe that's what they paid. You know, they have to make that to get their profit, whatever. There was a lot of modern stuff in there. That was more reasonably priced to some degree. I did pick up two items. I picked up one modern and one vintage. We start with the modern. These are not that popular, but I don't know if I've ever seen these are these 1990s Applause, which I know is kind of vintage these days. So this has still got this thing on top here, so it's kind of new sealed or whatever. And it's Lando as a gift card. And I've always had a thing. I liked Lando as a gift card. I know that not a lot of people do, so I don't know how much this will make. It was $14. I mean, so I'll try to put it out there and see what anybody has, but who knows? If I lose a little bit on it, it's okay. And then this was a little bit more expensive, not too much. It was a Ben Cooper. I mentioned Ben Cooper earlier when I was walking, and no, not Ben Cooper. I meant Dom Post. The Dom Post latex masks, the plastic helmets that came out in the 70s and 80s. There was a little store. I mean, they barely had anything back in the day. They maybe had 100 masks all kind of on display. And they had the Star Wars masks. So every couple of weeks, I would go there with my after I cash my paycheck, and I'd buy the Vader helmet. And then the next time I'd buy the Stormtrooper helmet. And I just loved it, And I did buy the latex ones. I bought the Gamorrean Guard. I bought this mask in a second. And I bought Yoda, and I bought Yoda's hands. I got all these different things. Unfortunately, all of those latex masks have since rotted away. I mean, they all melted. They weren't meant to last more than a couple of years. So, unfortunately, that was kind of what we were left with. So, I mostly got rid of them. I think I still have my Admiral Akbar mask. But I got him earlier because I remember I wore... Oh, no. That's where I bought it, because I had a cheaper one that I used for Halloween in the 80s when the movie came out. but then I got the better one because it was my favorite latex mask. But these are the Ben Cooper ones, and I've been like slowly building up a collection of these. This was $59, which probably was a little much, but it is in fact a Klaatu, which is of course not the most common figure, you know, but or character, but certainly cool in terms of mask. And again, these are those things that have the little vinyl smock that you put on. And I don't know, back in the day, you would, you know, you've seen me unbox these before. You would just walk in, you know, to your local department store, and right in the front, they would just have these stacked just like this all the way up. And you would just look for the character you wanted, right? And you'd look for the size. I'm not gonna wear this. I didn't care what size it was, but you know, I just love these. It's definitely an oddball, vintage throwback to a bygone time. So, and that what's nice about those is that they're seasonal collectibles. So I will line up all of them, like either on my mantle or something, for Halloween. I'll put them up for about a month before Halloween, and that'll be kind of like my Halloween decoration, you know. So I like that. I think that's kind of fun. So, all right. So as I said, that was a little insert. We'll see what happens next with whether or not this is the end of the video, in which case like, subscribe, hit the notification button, all that. Or if we're gonna just tag this on to our Sunday fun day of yard sales, not yard sales, flea markets on, you know, next Sunday at all the places I mentioned. Hey everyone, Darth Tuba here. We are on our way to do a marketplace pickup, which I'm excited about, because it's local. It was basically, the person was in Phillipsburg, which is pretty much the last town before you get into Pennsylvania, in this one part of the New Jersey going into Pennsylvania, which is about, I don't know, 25, 26 minutes from me. But he wanted to find a location that was closer, like someplace we could meet closer to me. So we were meeting in the Walmart parking lot in Clinton, New Jersey. So, which is only about 15 minutes from where I live, so it's even better. So I'm gonna meet up with that. And, you know, it's some vintage, some modern. You know, the marketplace thing is still a navigating world for me. I'm still figuring it out. You know, it's hard because this one was different. He didn't put a price up. He said, just make me an offer. So I calculated everything and I made an offer, and he agreed to it right away. So I was like, dang it, I could have gone lower. No, not really. I mean, you know, again, I'm always, you know, this is why this is not going to be, I'm not ruthless when it comes to this. Okay, and I'm not seeing this as a cutthroat business. I'm just trying to make offers that I feel are fair and where I can make a reasonable profit on items. However, I will say that there were a bunch of items in the lot that are modern that I do not usually run in my shows, so I probably will store some of them for next year's garage sale, just so I have some items. So we'll try that and see how that goes. But yeah, so I'm in the kind of the halfway point. We went out on Wednesday. Today's Friday, day before Independence Day. We went out on Friday. I went to the Golden Nugget Flea Market. It was completely dead, but I did find a few modern items to pick up for a sale, for either future yard sale or for a future Whatnot show. And then I want to go out this Sunday, weather permitting, to check out some of the multiple places. Definitely Columbus and Golden Nugget in Lambertville, maybe Englishtown too, depending on where that is. I gotta see if I can triangulate it all. And then we can check out and see how that goes as well. And see, I've been told Sunday's the best day to do that. I do have another Whatnot show Sunday afternoon, so I want to make absolutely sure that I'm back in time to be able to do that. So, let's check it all out. Okay, we made the transaction, and I'm gonna give you a verbal description, and I'll impose a video on top of it once I get back to my homestead. It was actually, I think, a very fair price. Although, you know, like most situations, you know, there's always a little wiggle room to go in your favor or not. But essentially, the items that I purchased. The main item was a full complete Java with box. Very good box, by the way. So good, in fact, I may actually check my own Java box and see if it's in better condition or not, and I might switch this one out. It came with obviously a throne. Came with Java still in the Hong Kong baggie, and Salacious and the pipe both in their original baggies. So the only thing it's missing is the inserts. So well, that and instructions and stuff. I had to look inside the box, but I don't think it had instructions. So that was a pretty high-end item right there. The other part it included, there was a turret and Probot playset. Has the turret, has the base, has the bottom of the Probot. Now, in full disclosure, I did not see that. However, I am debating. I might experiment. I'm at the point where I can experiment with all this and try to secure I know that the top of the Probot is really hard to get, or just getting a Probot in general is really hard to get. But there's a part of me that thinks, well, if I can get a Probot or the top of a Probot, and even if I pay a little extra for it, I have a beater box I can put it in. So, I might be able to make the money back in that sense. And if I don't, well, then I know. That's okay. There were about a dozen or so completed figures. This guy seemed pretty knowledgeable. He seemed pretty good on his resources, checking to make sure that there are no what's it called? Reproductions and things like that. I'll have to go through them just to make absolutely certain. And then there was a couple of Black Series figures in the box, which I'll run in they'll probably already be run, guys, I have a Sunday show. At the time of this recording, it's Friday, but this video isn't going out until after that, so they'll probably be missed. But there's that, and then I might do what else is there? Oh yeah, there was that 12-inch. It was an Anakin Skywalker, like spirit, like old Anakin, and it was a book. It was in this like trapezoidal box, and it had a little book about Anakin. It's all like legends at this point, but it was an Anakin figure, old Anakin. It's one of the few old Anakins that you can get. So I remember I had one. I had it in my personal collection. I sold it off at a yard sale. I will probably sell this one in the next one. It's a little big to ship, so I'm probably going to do that. So that is where we are. Okay. So like I said, I think I'm going to sandwich this video in between the two sets of flea market videos. So but it was a good pickup. Excited to get that out there. What I don't know right now is if I'm going to run this. There are parts of me that want to run. When I run things in lots like this, when I purchase them in lots, I'm not sure if I want to run them as specific items that I'll run by themselves, or if I want to run it as a prize for a mystery giveaway, that type of thing. We'll have to wait and see. So, good thing. And the weather, it's only 91 degrees right now, so it wasn't too oppressive as we get ready for what is supposed to feel like 112 today. I believe the weather is supposed to break by Sunday. I don't know. Sometimes it breaks by having bad weather. So if it ends up being that Sundays are washout, I guess I'll hold this video until the following Sunday when I can go out again. I'll try that. All right. Cool. Thank you. Ooh. All right. Good morning. Morning Stories Unboxing fans. Welcome to our next chapter in this flea marketplace video. It's turned into quite an interesting adventure. So this is the last day of it. We are on our way to, it's the last day, but it's a big day because we're doing kind of we're triangulating today. We are doing a triangle, sort of. We're going down to the Columbus Flea Market. It is the first time I can visit the Columbus Flea Market on a Sunday because I have a Sunday church gig, but I'm off in the summer. Last week I was doing the yard sale, and so this week I am here. It is open. It's sunny. It is sort of sunny. The heat dome or whatever that we were in is lifted somewhat. It's going to be only 87 degrees today. It's a high of 73 right now. So it's my hope I can get down to Columbus and check things out. I've watched a lot of videos where there seems to be a lot of Star Wars there, but I don't know if that'll be the case today. And even if it is the case, I have to be a little bit careful because of two things. Number one, I'm going early, and I've been told by reliable sources that going early on a Sunday is usually not a good time to get deals. Because the fact of the matter is that, you know, for many vendors, it's a big day for them, and it's like going at the beginning of a toy show, you know, and offer, you know, lower prices, asking lower prices on stuff and trying to wheel and deal. It's easier to do that at the end of the day. Unfortunately, I can't go there at the end of today because I have my Whatnot show. So that's one thing. The other thing is that I have to keep my budget in check, because after that, I am going to jump up to the Golden Nugget again, which is how we started this video. See how that is going. And then, but I'm only going to do a quick walk around there. And then we're going to go over to Quakertown in PA, because I scored another marketplace sale. So, and then this one is interesting because I think at first I thought it was just a personal sale, but I actually think it's at a store. It might be at another flea. It's the Quakertown flea market. So I'm actually doing a third flea market. So that is my adventure today. So we are going to see how that goes, and, you know, tack it on to the other things that we've done. Overall, guys, I've been pretty happy with it. I like doing this more in the summer when I'm not juggling my full-time teaching job on top of it, because, you know, you do that, it's very exhausting. But, you know, because it's been a little bit more, we've had a little more time during the day, I'm a little more energized, ready to go. Got my John Williams action figure coffee cup. By the way, I hope you like that. My daughter did that for me during COVID, but I always loved that. You know, the John Williams character from his quick cameo in Kijimi. We need a John Williams character. We need a John Williams action figure. Kenner, get on that. Sorry, Hasbro, get on that. We need a John Williams one. We need a George Lucas, director George Lucas. I want Ken, Joe Johnson, Ken Ralston, Dennis Murin, John Dykstra. I want that guy with the pink shorts holding the boom mic. I want a whole set. Let's get on it. I don't know if there'd be about a dozen people that would buy that, but I'd be one of them. So anyway, so we're going to be doing that. I'm excited. We got our Black Series. We're going to end today with the Black Series Whatnot show. Then I'm going to do another vintage show, and then I'm going to try to do another mystery bounty. I think I'm going to pull that back though to like maybe every other week or maybe once a month. Once I get back into doing weekly shows, just because number one, I know if I can do this without getting flagged every time I do a Whatnot show with the mystery bounty, it seems like I do something wrong, and I don't mean to. I'm trying to follow all the rules. I went about it the wrong way. And I mentioned this on another video. I had forgot to include the condition. I did include the condition in the general, the description of the one item, but I have like 100 listed, and then I included kind of a whole grid of all the things that you have a chance of winning on the show. But in that list, I did not include the condition. So I was like, okay. So now I have it all ready. I have to select what I'm going to put in the show, but I have my grid all ready with all the right things. I'm going to have it all set. I'm going to get that thing down to every little last detail, and then I'm going to try listing it one more time. And if I get flagged again, I think at that point, I'm going to try to reach out to Whatnot directly and just say, I need to talk to a person and find out, because my biggest fear is that what bothered me about this last one was that I did not get called out. Well, I guess I did get called out for I didn't put the grid of all the items. That's what I got called out for. I thought all you had to do was put them on the floor, on the table, so everybody could see them, and I do periodic scans of what's left as we go. But And to my in my defense, there have been several of my whatnot selling colleagues that have done shows like this, and that's all they did. So why I got flagged, I don't know. I don't want them to get flagged necessarily. I just felt kind of like it was unfair, but not again. I don't want to break any rules either. I understand there are legal precedents here that I don't want to. So as I said, if I can't get this right on this next one, I might retire it until I get better information on exactly how to do this. Because some of it's like we're trying to squeeze something in. We're trying to make. They give you options on what kind of show are you doing. Well, this isn't really exactly like what these other shows are. It's just a little bit different. So I don't know. It's a little bit challenging. So anyway, another nice thing is that it's great being able to schedule multiple shows, because I know then I'll be getting income popping into my account periodically several times a week, which is great. I was really on a buying kick, so my money was going down, my credit card was going slightly up, and then we did the yard sale, and then everything got kind of washed away in a good way. Like all the debt, everything just kind of got reset, which was great. And now I'm doing multiple shows, which is even better. So now I will be taking a break from that, and hopefully, when I go away, when I go to Disney, I'm still buying. I'm still looking for stuff down there. I'm still looking for stuff like on eBay and other places, and making bids and stuff. So we'll see what happens. Ooh, looks like we had some nasty thunderstorm damage around here. I just noticed. All right, so why don't we get ourselves down to Columbus? As I said, we've been down there a few times, but it's been kind of quiet. But apparently I've been told Sunday mornings and Sunday shows are really, really good. So we'll do that. We'll see how it goes. And then we will report back. I already see about 500 more vendors.
But these are my better things. Audrey with you?
The dark side of the force is strong.
Star Trek. Good, yourself? That's okay, I'm not looking for one right now.
Don't need another Falcon. What are you asking on the Death Star?
I could do 15.
15?
Right. It's unfair. I feel like it's unfair. So we say that. Well, it's the law. I want to well, am I here? Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's locked in the houses and they don't have the key to it. But I'm not going to pay a fine or they're going to take all the products because I don't. So, yeah, so I just They don't care. We even call them lawyers. They don't care. It doesn't matter. And the lawyer says you have to abide by what the state tells you that you need to have. Like, oh, that's bullshit. Nothing. Yeah, so that was real strange.
Okay, so much better amount of vendors. Definitely Sunday, far better. When you go into this and you pull in, there's parking on the right, there's parking on the left. It seems like the parking on the right and all the vendors on the right tend to be more. Somebody described it to me as, live in-person Temu. Like just a lot of tchotchkes, nothing vintage. It's all mostly new stuff that you can get, and also you can get, it's almost partially produce market, and you can get nuts and breads and all sorts of stuff, along with very much like modern day toys. Sometimes if there's anything vintage, it's more like just stuff that basically these guys went to Ollie's and Ross and cleared them out, and they're trying to make a profit on that stuff, kind of stuff like that. So, but on the left side, on the far left end, which the other days I've been here, that was empty, nothing going on there. That was where all of the more vintagey action was at. Now, I say vintagey action, but generally speaking, I didn't really pick up too much. I'll put an overlay here. So there were a couple of items. I'll try to get them in the order that that you see them. This one guy had a lot of more modern stuff, but definitely stuff that I think I could flip. Well, there was the Mandalorian with Blurg, which I'm actually thinking about. It was a damaged box, so I'm actually thinking about taking it out of the box and just having it on display, because I really love that Blurg character, the creature, and I just like to line him up with maybe some other creatures, modern and vintage. So that might be for the personal collection. Then there was a Black Series Mace Windu versus I think it was Palpatine, and then there was also a Black Series Paz Vizsla, which those by the time this video runs, they're probably going to go in my today's Black Series show and whatnot. And then there was also he threw in a Bandai General Grievous model, which I really didn't want, but the price he asked was for everything was pretty good. He also threw in a Elite Series C-3PO with the red arm from Force Awakens. Those two things I really wasn't looking for, but they were basically free, so I just took them. Otherwise, there was a guy who had the re-release of the Star Wars Death Star board game that included the Grand Moff Tarkin retro figure. Not sure when I'm going to do that. It was a very good price he asked for it, and we worked out a deal between that and a retro Mandalorian figure. So I don't know. I might just run it as is. I might just take out the Grand Moff Tarkin figure and run him separate. We'll see. I'm not sure how I want to run it yet. Only because it's almost not worth the game itself. No one's after the game. The game is fine, but you can get the original game for very little money. So a re-release of that board game isn't much. But if into a larger world, if you are watching, I had an idea that maybe there's stuff in there that you might want to use and kind of repurpose for your zine. So if you see this, reach out to me if that's something you're interested in. Anyway, then we had, I think that was, there was not a lot of vintage, meaning 70s and 80s. I stumbled across, like, in a pile, there was an old, very weather-worn, beaten up Tauntaun. I didn't get that. One guy had some figures, and he had an Obi-Wan Kenobi and a Vader figure that he was asking fair prices for, and I actually got him down even further. I asked if the accessories that it included, which were 2 sabers that were both with tips, if it was original, and he said yes, they were. I'm taking him at his word, but I'll have to go check myself. But even with the capes, and if the capes are original, it was worth the risk. So I purchased both of those, and that was pretty much it. There wasn't a lot of vintage out there. They had a lot of stuff from the 90s and 2000s, 2010s, a couple of Power of the Jedi stuff. I saw a couple of Revenge of the Sith items, but I really didn't want to jump into that and do stuff like that. So yeah, so it was good. I definitely was more pleased with it than on a Wednesday or on a Saturday. Having said that, I don't know if I'm going to be making a weekly pilgrimage here. I know I will probably try to get here once or twice more in the summer, only because I really can't do it in the fall, winter, spring. So we'll see. Now, that took a little longer than I thought, so I have an appointment. I have to meet up with a marketplace pickup, and I will be running up to do that now, and that's at the Quakertown Flea Market. So maybe we'll check around that one next, and then go to Golden Nugget if I have time after that. Okay, I made my marketplace find. Now, first off, this is not even part. I mean, I added it to the list just because, but we got some decent figures. We have a complete Yoda, which I was pretty happy about, and even just a Yoda with a cape, a Yoda with a robe, a couple of Vader and Luke with a broken tip saber. That's enough to make up the difference. And then there was also this, which is filled with, some complete figures. I know it looks they're a little banged up, but we have a blue saber. All right, so those are in fact some, they're worth the drive. Okay, now this did have an indoor marketplace and an outdoor flea market. I didn't bother. Well, the indoor marketplace unfortunately is closed because there's no power. Thankfully, this did not affect this since this was a marketplace deal. The flea market, I just did a walkthrough. It wasn't worth. They had like 2 Star Wars items. They weren't worth filming. So now we are on our way. We are going to try to insert one more stop, and that is to the Golden Nugget. Okay, which is the one closest to home. So I was going to try to do Englishtown as well, but that is completely in the opposite direction. So I may try to do that next weekend, and we'll see how we do. All right, here we go. Okay, we are clearly here on the best day. Still not a ton of people, but a good solid number. More than Saturday, more than Wednesday. Let's see if we have any luck. Yeah, a little deceptive, actually. Not as many people as I thought. In fact, that Saturday I came was better. Well, I do believe that was a special event, like a vintage weekend or something. But yeah, not too much. Hess trucks. Everywhere I go, Hess trucks. I don't know what the deal was. Hess trucks all of a sudden. I literally every place I stopped today, there had to be like 5 or 10 people with test trucks. Box test trucks, loose test trucks. I think part of the issue here is that it is about 11:30, which I know in flea market time is really the end of the day. So maybe next Sunday I'll try here early and see how we do. I see a lot of people packing up. But anyway, all right. So not a lot of Star Wars here. Still, I've had the most luck with this of all the places. I typically have the most luck. Ironically, we started this video last week, it's Wednesday, coming here, and there were like 6 vendors, and I ended up buying like a bunch of Star Wars stuff from one of them. So, but here we are with probably 10 times I went out and nothing. Okay, so kind of a downer of an ending, but not really. I mean, we made some good purchases today in our first 2 locations. Just kind of ended on a dud. I was really expecting this one to be better. Now, it could be the time of year. It could be the fact that we just came off of this insanely hot week, and some of these folks that run these are in fact they're not what I would say are the healthiest of individuals. So it's possible that they just were like, yeah, I can't be out here in this. Today, the weather is actually been overcast and just in the 80s. A little humidity, that's for sure, but leaps and bounds better than what yesterday and the day before and the day before that. So, yeah, I'm not sure. It could be that it's 4th of July weekend, and they just decided to take the weekend off. I really can't be sure. But in any case, it was a successful outing today, and a successful outing for the week. So we started it on Wednesday. We went to this one, and there were very few people here, but we were able to make a small amount of purchases. Then we had a marketplace pickup, which was good. And then I tried Columbus for the first time on Sunday, and that actually ended up being awesome because they said that there's a bigger flea market antique dealer presence as opposed to farmers market. Nothing against farmers markets or anything, but just or people selling mass quantities of new items. Some people, and it's a Temu, but live. I suppose they buy a bunch of stuff in bulk and they just try to sell it off individually, which is much different than what I do. But they do it for everything. That's another thing. Finding just Star Wars is a very, very challenging thing. I have noticed that there are very few people, even in toy shows, there are only a handful of people that just deal with Star Wars, or primarily Star Wars. So that was something I learned. I'm just trying to point out some of the things that I've picked up on after doing this. Now, how will this work for me in the future? I don't have an unlimited amount of Sundays, but I do have some in the summer. I also do schedule a Whatnot show for the summer at 3 o'clock on Sundays. So I have to be careful where I go, what I do. But I will probably try Columbus one more time, maybe towards the end of the summer. And then as for this one, I'll probably try this one a little more often because it's closer to my house. I'm willing to make a 20-minute drive more than I am to make an hour drive because I have had better luck here. Just the timing of today was not good. And by the time I came back here, I was just swinging around on my way back home, and it was 11:30 in the morning, which when it opens at 8, or actually no, Golden Nugget opens at 6. So that means that's 5 hours in. A lot of the people by 11, I think, were packing up. I don't know for that for a fact, but I saw a lot of people packing when I was there. So anyway, so that's it. And again, I don't have a lot of high hopes to find a ton of stuff. I'm just looking like kind of the American picker in me wants to just kind of go in and look and see if there's anything that I might find that's a deal. As far as the purpose of today mainly was the marketplace deal, and we'll go from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this journey. It's not something I can do every week. I know some people do it every week. I give up. Shout out to Gen X Jason. Check out Gen X Jason. Froggy Flips. He's more of a Midwestern guy. Gen X Jason actually is around here. Dark Ride Dracula, another one, and Retro Slacker, and I think Retro Slacker is local as well. So those guys have great YouTube channels, but they're looking for a ton of stuff. They're looking for like Dark Ride Dracula is looking for a lot of classic movie monster related stuff, but he'll find other stuff too, like Star Wars and vintage 80s and 90s toys. Gen X Jason seems to gravitate to music, particularly Kiss. He loves all Kiss merch, but he does a lot of, he'll find Star Wars stuff and other things as well. Retro Slacker is more of a late 80s, 90s collector, but he might come across some Star Wars stuff as well. And then Froggy Flips is really just, again, an 80s, 90s guy. He's more Midwest though, so I don't have a chance of running into him. But he's really good with the retro toys and finding them. He goes around in garage sales. I mean, he takes it very seriously. It's great. So anyway, I'm not trying to be like them. I'm just trying to emulate some of what they do, go to some of their places, see what I can find. You know, and as I said, Columbus was fine. I picked up a few good items. I don't think, you know, I wasn't expecting any major scores, but it's okay. There will be other opportunities. And again, knowing that the day was built around a marketplace pickup was, you know, very much the drive for today. I'm sorry that the Quakertown flea market area was so minimal and the inside stuff wasn't open. I would have loved to kind of walk through that. I might try that again another day. We'll see. And I still want to try Englishtown. I still want to give that a shot. I was gonna maybe try to do Rice's flea market, but apparently, and I remember back in the 80s and 90s, man, Rice's was like everything. People would wait, be lined up outside to get in 3 hours before. It was an insane kind of experience. It's barely anything now, and I just think that's just a sign of the times. I don't think there are as many people doing this type of activity. So anyway, so that's that. All right, guys, that is going to do it. Thank you so much. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the journey that I took. Again, this video will go live next week, and during that time, probably midweek, there'll be another mystery bounty hunt show on Whatnot Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Another Sunday show. I'm not sure what. Probably at this point it'll be a hodgepodge, a little bit of vintage and modern, and then another vintage and modern show on Tuesday. And those will be my last 3 shows at the time this video drops. Those will be my last 3 shows before we have a little hiatus going to Disney. Make sure that you check out those videos, though. I will still be dropping content. We'll have some Star Wars related Disney walk around videos. Definitely going to make 2 trips to the character warehouse. There's 2 of them. Off of Disney property. It's where Disney sends all of their discounted merch. I've actually picked up a few items. There is still a set. I've been watching other videos, and as of this week, they are still selling the retro six-figure pack that of the original. I guess it was the one that I was running in the show. I think I picked it up in April, and they're still running it. They still have them there. I think the reason they have them there is because they're not really on discount. They're at this point still the regular price. Disney often inflates their prices. Yeah, shocker. And so sometimes there are items that and they end up in the character warehouse, they end up just being regular price. But that, you know, if there are things that I think people will want, I will definitely reach out and grab a few of those, and I'll make 2 videos, one for the first week I'm there and one for the second week I'm there. As for the other things like Lakeland Antique Mall or things like that, probably not going to do that on this trip. I might take a trip to, there was a really cool vintage toy shop that I'm going to try to revisit and check them out and see if they've gotten any updated items. The problem with going with vintage toy shows, guys, is real simple. You know, they need to make their profit, so it's difficult to buy anything there that I can flip. The only hope I have is to buy a bunch of items and like try to get a bundle deal that I feel like I can make some money off of it. But I'm not hopeful that'll happen. So then the other side of that is, maybe I can find something for my personal collection and put that in there. So I've got a couple of those to do, and we're gonna do some live stream walk around again, at least one. Walk around Galaxy's Edge, get something to eat, maybe build a lightsaber. Then that's something I want to run in a future Whatnot show. So just the hilt, probably not the whole thing. As long as the blade, you can get a blade for it to work, I will probably just auction off the hilt. So we'll see. All right, guys, that'll do it. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, to the notification button. I just gave you my whole Whatnot schedule. And until next time.